So when we're talking about ankle injuries, this doesn't just pertain really to athletes. You know, a lot of times we see a lot of our ankle injuries because athletes get hurt. They roll their ankle, they're playing basketball, they come down from a rebound, they land on a foot, the foot gets rolled under, and then you get the classic ankle sprain. But this could truly happen to anybody. And you know, what's funny is I tease people when they come into the clinic and they ask me, and I'm evaluating their ankle, and I ask them if they sprained their ankle from a night of drinking and stepping off the curb. And I always ask that because I have had more people that came out of the Acorn or different places that were intoxicated that didn't realize there was a little, you know, curb there to step down, and the foot was too relaxed. As soon as it hits, it just rolls over, and it's all big and ballooned up. But truly, you know, we could get an ankle sprain anytime. I mean, we could be walking, as Kathy said, you know, she loves walking in the woods, and she could be walking in the woods and steps on a rock that makes her foot roll under, and all of a sudden she's on the ground with her ankle hurting. So, you know, ankle injuries can really occur in our normal daily life, but how we respond to those is critical. And what we see here in the clinic are individuals that don't get on the process quick tend to have residual effects. So let's kind of paint a picture here of what we see as a classic example of how people develop ankle injuries and then chronic ankle injuries in the clinic. So we have, let's just take a 50-year-old female that you know, is at home. She's gardening, she's doing her stuff, and she says, hey, I just pulled all this weeds, and I'm going to just walk down this little hill, and I'm going to just throw them over the bank there, so they're out of my hair and I can get back to gardening. And as she walks down, she slips mildly and tries to catch herself, and in the process, the whole foot rolls under, and she falls to the ground. And immediately, she's getting pain to the ankle. It's that sharp shooting pain that you almost want to throw up. It's that nauseating. It hurts so bad. I just want to say every cuss word and writhe around. And you're thinking to yourself, I haven't felt pain like this in a while. And you know, it takes a while to compose yourself. It goes from that sharp shooting pain. It eventually leads into this kind of throbby ache where it's just like, wow. And at that point, you're thinking, I don't even think I could put weight on this. I don't know what to do. You slowly crawl yourself up onto an area where you could get on the deck or get on a chair, and you're just thinking, I don't know how I'm going to live like this. So you take that type of individual that has a recent fresh ankle sprain, and from that moment forward will dictate the long-term effect that you have, or if you're going to heal quickly. And part of it is by minimizing the trauma. So let's take this individual says that they do not minimize any trauma. They try and just keep moving on the ankle. They ignore any of the pain that they're having. There is zero amount of intervention to the ankle. And what they see over time is that pain does come down. It slowly starts coming down. They can walk on a little bit better. But what they start noticing over time is stiffness. And they start getting more stiffness. They notice that even months down the road, when the ankle isn't hurting as much on a sharp shooting pain intensity, what they notice is that as they go to squat, they can't squat all the way down. That when they go upstairs, they're having to stop short a little bit because they can't fully go over the ankle. They've noticed that when they try to walk faster, that their pattern's a little bit off because that ankle won't move the way it needs to. And on top of it, as they get progressing in their life, anytime they do anything outside of normal, just regular walking, they might try and lightly jog. They might try and do a bunch of stair climbing. They go to do Black Friday sales down at the mall, and they notice that by the end of the day, the ankle's just achy. And what I hear typically from these type of individuals is they get a lot of achy issues to the ankle. And what really moves the needle to get people to seek intervention, it's never just the pain. It's never just the ache, because we tend to just ignore that and move forward. It's when it really starts to limit our lives. So when you start noticing that you can't walk as far as you need to, that you can't do a walking program with your friends because after about, a half mile, it really starts to ache and you have to stop. So your friends stop asking you to come with them because they want to go 3 miles. Or you notice that when you're shopping, grocery shopping, you have to find a place to sit down for a while because the ankle gets achy. Your back is starting to hurt. And you're going, why is my back hurting? But I think it's related to the ankle injury I had because it started about a month later. And what you're noticing is now that you don't have a symmetrical gait pattern when you walk, and that the ankle's not moving. So you can't finish your walking pattern at the very end. So now it's twisting differently through the hip, which twists differently through the pelvis. And now you're starting to get some back pain on the opposite side of that area. And so you're starting to notice a cascade of events from back pain, hip pain, possibly knee pain, poor squat mechanics, achiness to the ankle itself, especially throbbing at night, that just leaves you wondering, is this ever going to get better? And you're thinking 6 to 7, 8 months down the road, you're still getting achiness to the ankle anytime that you do anything outside of normal. So anytime you increase your activity a little bit, it just returns. So you're left there going, what am I going to do? What is this going to hurt me forever? Is there any solution? I don't think anybody can help me because it's been 6 to 8 months and nothing has worked so far. So picture that individual as we're running through this, and we're going to use that individual as an example when we're going through learning about the ankle and why this occurs, for one, and then 2, how to prevent it. So I'll give you tangible activities today before you leave on how to prevent this right from the get-go. So let's kind of move forward. I'm going to share my screen. Just talking about this ankle, and it truly is made up of that talus bone and the calcaneus. So the calcaneus is that big part of your heel that you walk on, and right above that is going to be the talus. So let's give you a side view. So in a side view, you're going to see the calcaneus bone, the big heel bone, and then right above it is the talus. And that talus is important because that is what makes the whole hinge part for the ankle to go back and forth, back and forth. It just sits up in that little house and it rocks it back and forth. So it allows that ankle to move properly. And what is it connecting to? Well, these 2 bones. So you have the tibia, which is the biggest bone of the lower leg, and then you have the fibula on the side. So these 2 form a little house, and they come together kind of like this, and they form a little house from the tibia and the fibula, and that talus sits up right in between it. And that's important to know because that's where all of the majority of your ankle motion comes from. So when we start talking about injuries, we're really talking about the mechanics that occurs at that joint more than the other ones. Okay. So I won't try and bore you too much with anatomy, but just a quick reference will help. So when we have an ankle injury, we typically get what's called an inversion ankle sprain, where the foot rolls under like this. So the foot's rolling under and it starts to stress all of these ligaments on the side of the ankle. So let's kind of go through those ligaments real quick. This ligament right here is the anterior talofibular ligament, and it is the most essential ligament in the whole ankle. And the reason it's essential is it's the prime stabilizer of the ankle, particularly with what we call inversion. And inversion is that roll, this roll that you get here, that when this rolls over. So this ligament is the prime stabilizer from the talus over to the fibula, that little side bone, and it is supposed to prevent that motion. But if you put your full body weight on it, you just left the logger, the acorn, it's late at night, you're feeling just ready to, let's hit the next party, and you step off that curb and the foot rolls under and you're really loose and relaxed, you can't react to anything. And all of a sudden, the only thing that prevents that foot from going under is that ligament. So typically, anytime that we get an inversion ankle sprain that rolls under, you're going to get this prime ligament that's torn. So that anterior talofibular ligament. You also have the calcaneofibular ligament, which is underneath. And the other one that we're going to touch on is this anterior tibiofibular ligament. And I'll touch on that one in a minute. But these 2 here are usually your prime ones. So you're typically going to see these ligaments, not so much as posterior, but these 2 right here, anytime we get that inversion ankle sprain, which is about 70 to 80% of the time, is it's going to roll that way. When you roll your ankle, you're going to tear these 2. And depending on the severity of the ankle sprain will essentially mean the severity of these ligaments being torn. Okay. You do have a couple other ligaments that become injured, which are on the other side of the foot itself, but we won't touch on those too much. We're going to mainly stay right here because this is where it's going to truly affect you in your life. Okay.